Hello and welcome. I'm Jane Mountrose, and this is our Soul Awakenings. I'm here today with my wonderful, wonderful friend, Gretchen Comer. We help awakening souls like you to increase your emotional and spiritual intelligence by accessing your full range of resources, which includes things that we focus on every week, actually, with this, using Oracle and Tarot cards for guidance, going into the Akashic Records and just connecting with that soulful space for all of us where we can access more of our own inner magic and resources. So our overall goal then is to get into a place where we can live life fully and evolve and grow in magical and mystical ways. So today, seems like we always have something special going on. And actually, if you're connecting with what is happening astrologically and what's happening in the world, there always is something probably. Today, we're going to explore what's happening with the full moon, which is happening this morning. And it's being called the buck full moon or full buck moon. It's such a big deal. It was actually written up in the ABC News website. In astrological terms, it is also the full moon in Capricorn, and Gretchen will talk more about this. She knows, I think, more about these things than I do. This is the second full moon in Capricorn that we had. The last one was in Capricorn too. So that's interesting. Anyhow, for ABC News, they describe the full moon as a great time to manifest your dreams. And I think that's probably particularly true now with the season and Capricorn and all those things too. Gretchen can tell us. Anyhow, the energy of the full moon is always considered to be intense. And this one, for some reason, is considered to be particularly so. So we're going to add some lightness with it. We're going to do a tarot reading with a really nice light kind of orientation in the cards for integrating the insights we're receiving more deeply into our awareness. Gretchen and I will also visit the Akashic Records for insights from the records for us about all of this. And then we'll add, for those who are here with us live who want readings, if there are such people available, I should look on Restream. We'll just see who shows up. If we can do it for everybody or for people, specific people, we're going to add an extra layer to the reading with another special deck, which we'll introduce at that time. A fun and light one. I'll just show you the backs of the cards. We're going light today. And it is interesting because the full moon is known as a time when a lot more people show up in emergency rooms, and the police are on guard because there's a lot more activity that they're having to deal with too. So we can start by breathing. It's a time, to me, it's a time just to bring the all of that intensity down and be kind to yourself while we go through all of this. And then, of course, we can be gaining from it too. So breathing in nice light energy as we come together. I want to turn to you, Gretchen, and ask you to share a bit about your perspective on all of these lunar things and summer things. So much going on.
Sure. So I think it's so interesting that this is another full moon in a consecutive month that's under the sign of Capricorn. And that really has a lot of meaning for all of us right now. I personally am a Capricorn, so to me, it feels very auspicious. But for everyone, it really is not only just a culmination of personal goals, but it's about sensibility and practicality and the earth element and grounding what you've been doing for the last 2 months kind of into reality. So you are bringing form into manifestation. And the reason it's called Buck Moon, which I think is so interesting, the Native Americans, we often talk here on the show about following the rhythms of nature, and the moons are often named after the rhythms of nature. Like we just had strawberry moon, you know, that's because that's when
Right.
strawberries are ripe. Well, buck moon, buck moon is interesting because it is about the deer shedding their antlers. So they've already shed their antlers and they're starting to grow new antlers. So usually for a couple months, it's hard to tell the male deer from the female deer because they don't have antlers. So right now they are growing their new antlers. So their new antlers are pushing forth. And so it really is a symbol of shedding the old self and growing into the new self. So we are constantly shifting and changing. And the full moon is a wonderful time to really embrace that. But it's also a period of culmination. So like today is the full moon, and we're fortunate enough to have the show on the actual full moon. But right, it's kind of like opening night of a play. There's not much you can change now because this is the culmination. So if the dress rehearsal didn't go great, so to speak, then there's probably not a whole lot you can do to affect change in the actual full moon cycle. So after today, though, full moon energy lasts about a day before, a day after too. So you can really work with that energy as it's still building. And then the crescendo, of course, is the full moon. And literally the minute after the full moon, the energy starts to back off a little bit and wane. So for about 3 days, you really can take advantage of the full moon energy. And so it's a great time to really acknowledge your own growth. Again, buck moon, shedding the antlers, growing new ones, and then forging ahead with confidence. And that's what Capricorn brings to us, is that wonderful, sensible, practical, grounding energy that we can use while we're exploring our emotions, which is really what the moon symbolizes. It's all about the emotional realm. And it's about navigating both the material and the emotional realms, and put what you know into work, put it to work for you. So Capricorn is kind of bringing that strong grounding energy that, you know, is organized and practical and sensible. And it's a great energy to have in any kind of endeavor that you're doing. So if you're trying to manifest something, you're going to want to really cultivate those energies during this full moon. So yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. It is having that opportunity and just knowing that we have these opportunities as we move through the seasons, through the months. All the months are unique and really offer opportunities each new month, and then of course each new moon and each full moon. So as we're kind of moving through the year, there is always something to be aware of. And of course, then, as Gretchen was suggesting, we want to be living in harmony with what's happening, rather than, as she was suggesting, thinking, well, now we're going to start this, this big move forward. This is time to see how it has happened, and really to focus on it, because you're in this intense period, and then let it go. And then we're releasing. So actually, the reading that we're going to do today, we're doing it backwards from the way that I would usually do it. And people who are familiar with us may recall having done this before. We'll have 3 cards, and so the middle one is going to be our central focus. Then the one which would normally be on the left side, that's the past position, would be release, central focus, and then embrace would be on the right side. It's going to be turned around. We're going to have central focus, and we're going to have embrace on the left side, because we're embracing what is culminating now. And then our focus is going to be on releasing. So moving forward, we're going to shift things around a little bit. And I see we have a few people here. Babs is here. Barbara Clark, welcome. I'm not sure about another person, Afia. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. Hello, Afia, and welcome. And then we have Sharon Williamson. Welcome, Sharon. It's great to see all of you. And of course, if you have any comments, questions, whatever, please let us know. And also, when we get to the readings, you'll have an opportunity to have a reading. So stay tuned for that. And there's Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Wonderful to see you too. We're talking about the full moon, and all of the opportunities that are available to us now. Gretchen mentioned there's an intensity right around the full moon in terms of focus, I think something that my husband Philip and I learned years and years, many decades ago, um, related to the lunar phases and when to be aware that the energy is affecting you is to go out maybe as much with the full moon as much as 3 days before and 3 days after, in terms of wanting to be in a place of just not dealing with your most intense issues. Because and things can come up and seem like they're really really intense, like this is so important, there's all of this stuff going on inside. What I've found actually is if I just say, well, I'm going to kind of set that aside for a few days and I'll come back to it after this is complete, and when I come back, then it's not an issue anymore when things have settled a little bit. So you can, with the full moon, actually full moon compared to new moon in terms of tide cycles, which we're very aware of course, being right on the ocean here. The biggest swings in the tide of all of the months, all of the times of the month, are during the full moon phases, and so it is more extreme, it lasts longer, and the next most intense swings is the new moon phases. So both of them have that, but it's more in the full moon. So actually, for people who love tide pools, which we do, going out right like today would be one of the very, very best days of the month for tide pools. Of course, sometimes those times, because it has to be at low tide, it might be in the middle of the night. So you have to really look at the tide schedules. But that's something I'd love to do, is go out and see the tide pools. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to do that, Gretchen.
I have. We go down to the beach in North Carolina, just one state down here from Virginia. And that's one of our favorite things, especially when it's full moon, because everything is illuminated. You can see without you can walk at night without a flashlight. It's lovely. We take total advantage of that. And we love seeing like the turtles hatching and things like that are right around the full moon. So love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if you're actually living in harmony with what's happening in nature, that's one of those opportunities that I consider to be really special. When I have an opportunity to go out and in those really low tides and see tide pools that you may not see again for quite a long time, for another month or so. And actually, for some reason, and I don't know, maybe you know, Gretchen, I don't know why it is, the tide pools, the swings are greater even in the winter. The lowest tides are in the middle of winter. Do you know why that is?
I'm not sure. No, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So winter, if you're really looking for the best times of year, it would be full moon in winter, in the middle of winter. Summer's good too. And of course, it's always fun. Going to the ocean, I think, to me is always special anyhow. Walking around in the little waves and things, it's fun. So I guess we could just go ahead and start our reading. You ready?
I am, yes.
Okay. So as I mentioned, we're going to draw 3 cards, and I'll remind you as I lay them out. I'm going to set myself up so that you're actually looking at my table instead of me. And so our intention is for us as a collective, like what is most useful now for our central focus, for what to embrace as we move into this moon, and then what to release as we go into that period of letting go as we move toward the new moon. So I have them all laid out here. No, here's a nice one. I'm going to put this in the middle for central focus. This is embrace on this side, and we're going to release on the other side. I haven't actually done this before. Kind of a different idea.
I'm excited.
We'll see what the world or the universe has for us today. So we're going to start central focus. It is, this is interesting, and it is interesting being kind of at the end of that rise to the full moon. This is Major Arcana card number 20, Judgment. And one of the things I really like about this particular deck of cards also is that at the bottom of each card, and I don't know if you can read them from where you are, there's a keyword or keyword phrase, and it says inner calling. So the central focus is on your inner calling. Any thoughts about that, Gretchen?
I was just going to ask, would you mind pulling the cards down just a hair, because it's tucked up underneath the Soul
Underneath the
Awakenings
Soul
banner?
Awakening
Yeah, there you go. That's
yeah,
perfect. Yeah, there we go.
there you are.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
And that's Rhiannon. These are mythic goddess tarot, Rhiannon. Are you familiar with Rhiannon? I'm
I
not
am. I am actually.
particularly.
She's a Welsh goddess. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Horse is
And
very prominent. That's one of the big symbols of Rhiannon is the horse.
mm-hmm.
And is that an owl? Or is that
It
a
looks like it. Let me read a little bit about the meaning.
yeah.
I'm curious now. Did you say Rhiannon? How did you pronounce
Rhiannon.
Rhiannon's story reminds us that the truth can set us free and that healing and second chances do happen. You can discover spirituality in the best you. You're being offered another such opportunity. Trust your own innate sense of what is right and wrong. Whatever hurt has been piled on, you're at a crossroads and need to make a choice. What have past lessons taught you? It's time for wounds to be healed and for salvation. Use your inner judgment. This is the judgment card to work out what situations to leave behind forever and which deserve your time, energy, and love. And it's interesting about that idea of focusing on what needs to be left behind, because that's where we're moving into
Right.
that.
That's definitely full moon energy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
and
see if it says anything about the. I don't see it. Might be here, but I can't see about. Oh, here it is. No, I'm looking to see if there's anything about the owl. I don't see it, but it is wisdom, right? Owls are wisdom.
right, if that is indeed an owl, it's some kind of long-tailed bird. I see, it's beautiful. You know, it's interesting because the goddess Rhiannon is also about personal sovereignty. So it's about really understanding our own inner power and how we have all of the power inside us essentially to make any kind of changes and to forge ahead in our life. And I love that she's on a horse, because that to me means motion. You know, she's moving ahead, she's forging ahead on her horse. She's not standing beside it with it grazing. You know, that this depiction is shows movement with the horse's hoof up. So I think that's really interesting. She's almost Lady Godiva-ish in this picture too, which is, you know, just really about personal sovereignty as well.
Well,
Feeling
and she
very
has,
free.
it looks like some kind of, I can't tell if it's a horn or a, or if it's, I don't know what that
Interesting.
is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love all the nature elements around her, and
Yeah,
the
and
sun.
trees and yeah, really
The
beautiful.
sun is you know, a symbol of strength and
Mhm.
power too. So, and support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is about, so we're here to follow our inner calling
Mhm.
and embrace the Page of Pentacles, which here the keyword is loyalty. The Page of Pentacles, of course, Pentacles is about connecting with the physical realms and manifestation a lot of times. So the pages, what the way I look at the pages is that they are embracing the spirit and the energy of that suit, whatever it is. So it is the earth element. So they're embracing the essence of it in a actually a new kind of new childlike way, childlike spirit. The page is the youthful,
Youth,
a
right?
youthful, yeah, a youthful perspective. I think this is the earth here too.
The earth.
Yeah.
There's an element of balance here too, with there being two essentially. That's, you know, could be duality or it could be balance.
Right. And frankly, I don't exactly understand what loyalty means here.
Actually, in relation to the first card, I saw it as loyalty to oneself, you know, being loyal to yourself and making choices that are good for you, you know, embracing your ability to do that with with strength and courage, you know. We
Mhm.
have it inside us. We're holding the world in our hands. I love that, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It says being ambitious and focused, but also ethical and loyal.
Mm.
Loyal to our truth. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting that Rhiannon,
Rhiannon. Yeah,
she's
Rhiannon.
she's facing the
Mm-hmm.
Page of Pentacles too.
Right.
So
So
that's
she's
interesting.
moving towards what we need to embrace.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And with loyalty, I think, that part, ethical and loyal,
Mm-hmm.
loyalty to our mission. That's really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. So then what to release as we're moving forward from here, um, and this is interesting, is another major arcana card. So we have two major arcana cards, which I would, anyhow, I think generally you would highlight these as being important. It's not just like any old card. they're the big patterns that we're looking at. So this one is the Lovers, Aphrodite, and it says love. And the also that card, I think the the six. Now I'm losing. Uh, now I can't even think of what it is. The Lovers. The Lovers is also about choices, choosing those things that
Mm-hmm.
really are worthy of love. So I guess as we're releasing those things that no longer serve us
Mm-hmm.
as we have moved forward towards our inner calling and embracing what is worthy of love. That's one way of looking at it.
Right. I also see it as releasing more love to the world. You know, don't hold back your light. Release that love to the world. You know, let the world
Mm-hmm.
see your light. Let it shine through with your love. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a lot of beauty in that. And we may, hold tight a little bit on that. We may feel like, well, what does the world need my love for? But it really does. It helps everybody to send that love out and to release it into the universe.
Mm-hmm. And it says, I embrace love and happiness.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It says vital decisions are now being considered in life, in finances, and at home. You may be facing something of a dilemma as you ponder and weigh your options. Only you can make the call, but take care and don't just settle for whatever is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Embracing love and happiness, the road less traveled may turn out to be the right direction. That certainly, love is the road less traveled, unfortunately. But I think that's true.
Right. It could also be, for us to release any hangups we have around embracing our love, embracing this
Mm-hmm.
too,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Full moon is a lot about emotions. So it's about, not only embracing the emotions we're feeling, but to release the ones that are no longer serving us. So I feel like that
Right.
could be, there's several ways to interpret this card, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that making a choice,
Mm-hmm.
and it is in the release position. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to interpret it in relation to that intention. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to release those things that are not worthy of love or do not resonate with love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that makes sense with inner calling too, and
Mm-hmm.
loyalty to your mission.
Right.
It's actually very beautiful, and I think the cards are so pretty,
They're very pretty. Mm-hmm.
which I thought was good for a time like this, an intense time. So with that, Gretchen, would you like to, let me see, let me look at, we have several other people here, I think. We have Tammy. Welcome, Tammy. She said, may I get a reading, please? When we get there, we certainly can look at that. And Althea also wants to get a reading. We have several volunteers.
Yay.
Right. So yes, we will certainly look at that. And we're doing something kind of special. Well, I think everyone is different. So I think it'll be fun. First, Gretchen and I are going to go into the Akashic Records and see if there are any insights for us there. And then we'll be doing the additional readings. So while we're doing that, also what we generally do is we all go up together to a mystical mountaintop, um, And then from there, Gretchen and I will continue, and we all have the opportunity to share in the energy, which is divine love. So we'll start by, as Gretchen already is doing, and I'm going to switch back to the other video setting. And now we're going to just start to relax, closing our eyes. If you're in a place where you can do that, closing your eyes and just breathing in love and light from the universe around you. And just releasing any of the intensity that you might be noticing from this time and from your life in general, anything that's not serving you. And breathing that love into all of the cells of your body, releasing as you exhale again. And as you breathe, asking any energy that's not your own to leave your space, any energy you've picked up from other people, times, and places. Send it back with love, lovingly to wherever it came from. And as you do that, you might notice you feel more spacious because we have so much energy that we take on and it's not even us. So this is an opportunity to reverse that and claim your space. As you do that, also you want to bring back any energy of your own that you've left in other times with other people in other places. So just ask to have all of your own energy brought back to you now. And you might feel that also. You might feel that there's more energy coming in. And you might feel like you're more present in your body in the moment, which is what we really want now and always. For this specifically, as we prepare to go up to the mountaintop, we want to bring as much of ourselves as we can. Because the more of us that's here, the more expansion we can experience individually and collectively. So now, again, breathing in that light energy, feeling so light that you can begin to rise up. Imagine rising up safely and beautifully from the ground. We're going to go to a magnificent mystical mountaintop. It's so high up in the atmosphere that it's above all of those mass consciousness thought forms that are impacting us most of the time. So just rising up. And it's also a place where you have a panoramic view of the entire world around you. To me, it feels like it's so high, I can just see the whole planet almost. It's a beautiful, and just rising up to this place with that bright light energy, that provides a change for you in itself. So we've had a few here. Again, breathing in love and light from the universe. And Gretchen and I will rise up further into the Akashic Records. And as we arrive there, Gretchen, let us know what you're noticing and any insights that you might have.
It's interesting. I feel like I'm here at the Akashic Records, and instead of what I would normally see, I'm seeing a very big expanse of the night sky with a big full moon, big full moon. Like it's bigger than a building, it's just massive. But it feels very soft and just beautiful and luminescent and bright. It just feels very soft and gentle and very feminine, very soft feminine energy, very receptive energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think part of that is the lightness we've brought into this show today. But what I'm seeing is just opportunity. There's so much opportunity. It's like the moon is casting this light like the sun would cast, except it's this beautiful white light that's just illuminating everything. And it just feels like there are these paths of possibility going out in every direction. I just see all these different paths, multiple paths going off in different directions into these beautiful verdant fields and forests and really lush landscape in every direction that I look. So it feels to me, the first thing I heard was possibility. There's so much possibility. So it feels very expansive, and it feels like there's a lot ahead for all of us.
Wonderful.
I'm also sensing angels. I'm sensing Metatron
Me
is
too.
there. Yeah.
A lot
I'm
of them.
sensing
That's the
a
first
lot
thing
of
I
them.
saw. Is
Yeah,
just a whole lot of the beings of light supporting.
absolutely. Absolutely. And it feels I see them kind of doing the hands up mudra, which is like an offering symbol, or it's a sign of offering. So I feel like this is an invitation. It's like something you would do if you were inviting people, in. So I feel like the angels have their arms open with their palms up, and they're inviting us to just see the scope of these wonderful opportunities and possibilities that are ahead for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
No, it's interesting you mentioned that because I often do that just automatically somehow. And people might want to if you feel like just opening to the blessings from the divine, from the universe around you, raising your hands up and receiving. Because I felt, as Gretchen mentioned, there being lots of angels, I felt that there were more than usual, and they were more, I think, felt closer somehow. And maybe it is a time when we're closer to the divine. It just feels like and they're wanting to bless us with light. So if you're open and wanting to receive, just
Now,
allow.
yeah. I'm seeing rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of angels just as
Right.
far back as the eye can see. And um, I sensed Jophiel. I felt like her beautiful, soft presence, and I see her just kind of tossing out rose petals over all of us. These beautiful rose petals. Just lightheartedly, she's laughing and she's tossing out these petals very playfully. I think that's a good part of this too. Is what you were saying before, is to bring in the lightheartedness of this intense energy. We have a way to make it lighter. We don't have to always
Right.
feel that extreme intensity. It's
Mm-hmm.
always a choice. We
Right.
always have this as a choice before us, whether
Mm-hmm.
to really immerse into that or just to stay above it and just see the full scope of things, which is kind of where I
Right.
feel like I'm at right now on this place between time and the Akashic Records. Feels very expansive, as big as the moon or bigger,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it is I think for when people are, you could say, succumbing to the intensely restrictive energy, it's out of unconsciousness. And I think what you were suggesting, Gretchen, is if we become more aware, we do have choices.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that way. We
Right.
can actually receive the blessings of this intense light in a way that feeds us and nurtures us.
That's beautiful, because I feel like it's an invitation, but
Right.
again, it's always a choice we have. So the angels are inviting us,
Mm-hmm.
to look at all of these opportunities, all of these possibilities that we have available to us,
Mm-hmm.
and to
Right.
shed light on that, to illuminate that, and not just see one or two opportunities. There's many, many, many opportunities and possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Right. And then
Place
as
of
we're
potential.
moving now into that phase of going towards the next new moon, which is the release phase, we can be releasing those things that are not this light that we want, the love that we want. So that when we get to the next new moon, we're in a higher place. So we're actually in a pattern where we're moving gradually, just moving gradually upward on our paths, following our inner calling.
Right, right. And I'm feeling the cards that you drew in this too, the personal sovereignty of Rhiannon, the goddess, and the balancing and how we hold the world in our hands. That's part of, our opportunities, our possibilities. We really do hold the world in our hands, essentially. And then, of course, letting go of all those things that are keeping us from divine love, from love in our life, because that's really the underlying energy.
Yeah, that balance, I think the card would say, I think it's balancing heaven and earth, balancing the divine and the earthly.
That's actually interesting too, because Capricorn, the animal symbol for Capricorn is what's called the sea goat. Well, that's a mythical creature because we've never seen a sea goat, but what a goat that can swim with a tail. But what it means essentially, the symbolism of that means that we can bring into manifestation and pull things in from both the material world and our emotional world. And so much of our intention is through our emotions and how we feel, that I feel like it really is about bringing things into form, going from thought and idea into form or matter. So that's a really profound kind of type of alchemy that we are called to do.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So does that feel complete, Gretchen?
It does, but of course I just want to stay here looking at this beautiful moon.
Right.
So beautiful.
Well, we can
all
bring
the angels.
all of this light back. Yeah. And I'm delighted that you've got a more expansive view of the universe too than usual in your records. That shows growth for you. That might, from now on, that might always be the case. So with that, we can just breathe in that light and remember that we can carry it with us as we begin to gradually drift back down where we started from, wherever you're sitting or resting, putting your feet on the ground, the floor, or just imagining you can do so. Grounding yourself to Mother Earth. We're getting that balance between heaven and earth there as we ground ourselves. And thanking all of the angels, Jophiel and Rhiannon also, and all of the angels and masters, all of the beautiful beings who are surrounding us. Breathing in more active energy, returning to your normal waking state, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Yeah, that felt really good. It's interesting, just very insightful today too. That was beautiful.
That's usually true on full moon too. You usually do get much clearer. So whatever I've read before, the intuition is much stronger during the full moon.
Right.
Part of the natural rhythm of the movement.
Yeah, there's more light. It's a matter of whether we can embrace it or whether we are if we're not able to handle it. You could say if it's too much for us and we're succumbing to those darker things. So Bab says, much love. I need to leave early. So thanks for joining us, Bab. It's wonderful to see you. the small picture of you there. So okay. So with that, the next thing that we do then is go into those personal readings. And let's see what we have. So I guess Tammy was the first one who asked for one, and then we have Afia. So I'll tell you what we're going to do here. I'm going to switch back to the other camera. And I'm going to move these cards up now because because we have to fit the other ones in. So we still have the keywords, but I think we got to see. So what we're going to do for these readings is we're going to use the Oracle. I have a hard time getting this right. The Oracle of the Fairies, which again, mentioning just wanting to be in a lighter place. And actually, since we're kind of taking flight here with the fairies, what I'm going to do is we'll stay with the central focus of following our inner calling. And then for Tammy, I'm going to draw a card. So the first one will be, this is embrace, and the second one will be release. And there will be a message with each one from the fairies. Okay, so this is embrace, and this is release. Here we go. So the embrace card is, this is interesting, music. And it was one thing I didn't really get to mention when we were up up in the stars is I was also hearing celestial music. Listen carefully, for there may be a message in the music you hear. Music can lift your soul, rekindle memories, and charm fairies to your door. So if you do listen to music, that might be a beautiful thing. You also can just close your eyes, and maybe we can all do that now for just a moment. Close our eyes and listen to the music from the fairies. It may not have words, but it might have an energy for us. I can feel that. Can you feel it, Gretchen?
Yeah, I can feel it. Absolutely.
That's beautiful to just open to fairy energy. That's really beautiful. Okay, so for release, it says, ask for help. Angels are celestial beings who protect everyone. And the fairies say now is the time for you to ask for angelic assistance. And of course, that card is about embracing love also. So they may fit together. And the other one is about being loyal to your inner calling. So that's something, Tammy, just to consider. And I think, as Gretchen did with Jophiel, and Jophiel is a really beautiful angel. If you are not specifically familiar with them, you can just open to angelic energy. Jophiel is a wonderful angel. She's focused on beauty, actually honoring and appreciating your inner beauty. She mentioned there were so many things that came up with. The rose petals, just all those rose petals flowing down over you. Just divine love. Like, how can you open more to divine love? You know, what might the angels help you to release, to embrace divine love? So any thoughts, Gretchen, about these?
I think it's beautiful. I think music is a metaphor on some level, can be seen as a metaphor just for the flow of life too, you know, the melody of life as we're flowing along. So it's about acknowledging the music in our life, you know. And then of course asking for help. I love that brings in the angels again, as well as, you know, the fairies through this deck. They're really not that dissimilar, you know. They have very beautiful light energy and can definitely help us. I think asking for help is one of the things that we as humans don't often do. You know, we may feel like we can do it ourselves. And one of the things that I have learned in all of my years of experience is that we can't do it alone. So whether we are asking for help from another person, which we may not feel comfortable doing, we can always ask for support and help from the higher beings. There are always angels, beings of light, ascended masters, goddesses, gods, celestial beings, galactic beings that can always offer us help. And there's usually many around us that are willing to help, but they don't intercede unless we ask. So asking for help sometimes is that leap into the unknown, and that's okay. You know, it's hard sometimes to ask for help, but just know that if we do, just tremendous things can happen for us if we just ask for that support. So I feel like it's a blessing. This is a beautiful blessing. It's about being within the music of your life, the flow, and asking for help when you need it. It's a beautiful reading.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think those who know us and know what we're doing here well also know that that's an integral part of all of this is connecting with those beings of light, with the angels, fairies, goddesses, masters. My sense is that we can go so far without that maybe, but if we really want to move forward and access our full range of resources and recognize that this is part of our reality, it's a part that is unseen and unaccepted by most, but it is part of our reality right now. All of these beings, as Gretchen said, they're here, and there are many beings for each of us who are waiting because they're not going to interfere with our free will. but they will support us if we if we give them an opportunity to.
Right. And maybe it's hard to take in, but they love us. It's amazing to think that so many beautiful beings really do love us and want the best for us. Because that's not always true in our earth reality, so here is this beautiful divine presence through angels and ascended masters and beings of light that are willing to help us. So I feel like, asking for help in relation to the Lover's card and the position it's in for the earlier reading, I think they really go together,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I just noticed Tammy, there were there were a few notes I missed, but there was someone else wanting to ask how and I'm not sure we'll have time for two more. We'll see how their exam will go tomorrow. One thing I would say is just to follow all of what's being suggested here. And I would suggest to ask the angels to support you and guide you. I think that can really, really help. So I think we'll go on to a second reading. And we'll see what we have here. And this one is for Afia, who was the second person to request. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And I'm just going to draw these cards. So we have, this is for what to embrace and this is what to release. So to embrace, this is interesting, wait for winter. Not sure what that means. During the cold months, the fairy of winter will help you to manifest your most heartfelt wishes as long as your intentions are for the highest good of all. Does that resonate with any? Do you have any insights on that, Gretchen? That something, it may be that there is something that's going to be coming for her in winter.
The first thing that came to mind is, everything's within cosmic timing. So sometimes it's not all, we may feel it's the best time to start something or to do something we've been wanting to do, but maybe it's not the best time throughout the universe. So a lot of times if we follow the natural rhythms of where we're being guided, then that essentially, those kinds of things will work out better. So sometimes it's the first thing that came to me was sometimes it's just about the right timing for things. Waiting for winter, I don't know if it necessarily means wait for the season of winter. But I think there's probably a little bit more about that. And I love the image on the card. That's really beautiful.
Is really beautiful. Yeah. And Afia might know if there's something you're waiting for that maybe that applies there. So to embrace, and you could, as Gretchen mentioned, just embrace perfect timing and not trying to dictate it. I think above all, that's one of the most important things for all of us is we cannot dictate divine timing. We don't, that's not part of our capability. And so
thank goodness. What a responsibility.
Right. And what to release, this one says nature's signs. And what I would say about releasing is we're not talking about releasing nature signs, we're maybe releasing any blockage to nature signs. So be receptive to the subtle messages from nature as you go about your day. Nature calls to us continually. We need only open our hearts and minds. And I think this is something that comes up for me more than once every week, like repeatedly. Connect with nature, connect with nature. I think in terms of that balance, we have the balance here, heaven and earth, that most of us are off the ground. we're not grounded to the earth and to nature and our experience, a full, and again, going to our full range of resources, a full openness to the blessings that nature has for all of us, which are so many. And I know Gretchen is well, we're both earth signs, so we really love nature. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, to me, when you said nature signs as the keywords, I thought interesting, because to me that makes me feel like the rhythms of nature, following along. We've talked a lot about in this particular show about how when we're aligned with the natural rhythms of nature, things flow more freely. So I think that's essentially how I interpreted this card too. Nature is going to give us signs about when the best time might be to make our decisions or to forge ahead with our projects or things we want to do in our life.
Right. Don't miss them. So
right, exactly.
If we're letting
There's
go, don't miss, let go of maybe your focus on something else that maybe is not working and open to nature.
Right. There's a lot to be said about stopping and smelling the roses. I mean, I
know for sure.
There really is a lot to be said about that. And I think if we can take time to do that and cultivate some more of that inner patience, we bring more balance to our life. We can listen more clearly to our inner calling and embrace love.
Right. And I always recommend trees. Sit under a tree, find a tree that you're drawn to. And if you connect with a few trees, you'll notice they are very uniquely different, and especially different varieties of trees, different kinds of trees. But I spend time almost every day sitting under a tree, because trees, and it is nature, I think, one way of connecting with nature, they slow you down. It's like they're just kind of stationary there, and they're experiencing reality in a very different way that is so nurturing to us. They're just beautiful. So I hope that was helpful. And what I have to realize also is I have to keep moving my cursor down to see all the most recent messages, because it keeps popping back up to the top, which doesn't help. Let's see what we have. Yeah, Athia says divine timing is the best. There was some, she said, but I don't know what the but is, but let me see. So we had that. There's someone else who asked for a reading. Oh, Sawmill. How will my exam go tomorrow? I'm not sure about that. We can maybe put a moment into that just for the heck of it. So this is not actually, I don't know if that relates exactly to, but so for your, let's say we're going to do the reading for how you can best support your exam going well, what to release and what to embrace as you follow your inner calling. See what we get here. Okay, so here is to embrace, here's to release. So this is just funny because we have music again. And I shuffled, and we've done another reading. I shuffled more. So it's interesting. And I would, to me, the first thing that comes to my mind, knowing that one of the best ways to be successful with a test is not to strain your brain to a point where it's too confused to be clear. And music is clarifying. So listen to some music. Any thoughts on that, Gretchen?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you can definitely find the right music to put you in kind of that right resonance or vibration with where you want to be with your positivity and your optimism and your strength when you go into it, taking an exam,
And again, for what to release, so it is what not to miss when it's something positive. So this one says fairy spotting. It's time to go fairy spotting. It's said, and this, I think the main message actually was probably very accurate. It is said that seeing is believing, but in fact, the opposite is true. Believing is seeing. So it is believe that it's going to go well. I think as just knowing a little bit about how it is for people taking tests, that a lot of times we we psych ourselves, or well, how do we convince ourselves that something's not going to go well, and it doesn't. But if we believe, and you can ask fairies, angels, any beings of light, and the music, that angelic and beautiful divine music, all to support you, just to be in that. Makes me think, just to be in that place where magic can happen,
right?
Where
right,
you're in the flow with the divine, for that experience. And it is a very kind of earthly experience, but that's interesting. It's interesting to consider. All of what we're talking about is preparation for something specific like that. We do all face these kind of specific things, so so I hope that that's helpful for I'm not sure I'm saying it right, Sawmill, Saumil. Anyhow, anyone who wants to also add comments about the readings? We won't have time for any more. I see there are a couple more people, and we will be back next time for more. But our time for now is already gone. So I'm going to go back to the other. Oops, the video went off. Wasn't what I was trying to do. Go back to my other camera. So that was interesting. I thought those readings, that was all very insightful. I think the things that, for me, I got insights from both of those, or I guess all of the readings. We had 3.
Yeah, I just want to say about the fairy spotting card, which I think is interesting, is it's about believing that we can, believing, not just believing in fairies or, going out and trying to find fairies, but it's the energy is about believing that we can, because
there was you mean?
In the image, there's one right there in front of her. So it means about believing
we
in
can
believing that we can. Yeah. So I think that's good energy to take into an exam, believing that we can accomplish it, it can be done. So,
Right. Right. So there are different levels of this. Also, can I hear divine music? I'm like, I can't hear anything. And I have to admit, when I listen to divine music, I'm not sure I hear it with my ears. I hear it with my heart.
I would have to agree. Yeah. I used to memorize things to music too. That's always a good way to keep things in your memory. Facts and figures and dates. I used to put it to music when I was growing up and going to school, and that was always helpful to me too. So I saw it that way as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're coming to the end. Gretchen, would you like to tell people how they can connect with you?
Sure. Thank you, Jane. So people can connect with me on Facebook under Gretchen Comer. My page is Spiral Journey Holistic Life Services. You can go to spiraljourney.net. I've got a page of free things on there that you can engage with and watch and interact with. And I love to connect with people. So if you'd like to connect, please do. Get ready to have a retreat this next weekend. So it's exciting to have a live in-person retreat. And I'll be doing a chakra and crystal healing practitioner training I'm leading here in August through October. So that would be exciting too. So thank you.
Yeah. So for Awakenings Institute is the nonprofit organization that sponsors the Soul Awakenings. And my husband Philip and I, we're going to be on Friday of this week, we're going to have our second miracle card reading happy hour. And this is a place where if you join us, you will receive a reading for sure, because we have a maximum of 8 people, and everybody gets a reading. Plus, we just come together, and miracles is a wonderful topic. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. So if you're interested, you can go to tinyurl.com/spiritual happy hour. I think I'll just put this in the chat. And then, so if you're interested in that, we would love to, we have some spaces left. They probably will fill up. So, so if you want to join us, please do so as soon as possible. And hopefully we'll see some of you there. For the Soul Awakenings, for our podcast here, I wanted just to mention we appreciate all of your comments. Tammy said, "Add me." It is Tammy. It's something you have to sign up for, and there is a small fee. You have to go to the tinyurl.com/spiritual happy hour to sign up. We would be delighted to have you join us. So we do appreciate your comments. We appreciate also if you want to let us know what you like, maybe what you would like us to talk about in the future. We'd appreciate that too. You can follow our page on Facebook or subscribe to our YouTube channel too, which is Soul Awakenings, and share this video with your friends. We certainly appreciate having more and more people opening to love and light. This is our ultimate goal here. And it's nice that the reading was so cooperative with that too. And also feel free to invite friends to join you here next week. Then you have something special to talk about. And the very last thing is we send all of the love and light that we have collectively gathered forward to the next week. So you're sending that light and love into the future. And you may have particular places like the exam or wherever it is, and know that the love and light are going to be there for you. Because it's interesting. Then when you get there, you can just remember it and feel it. So I think that's really fascinating that we can do that through time and space. Mm-hmm. And also we look forward to seeing you next time. So please join us if you can. If you're not able to join us live, as I mentioned, you can watch the videos later. Have a wonderful week. Bye. Let's see.